Everybody, if you've been told you're allergic to penicillin or one of its related medications, such as amoxicillin, it might be worth being tested again.
Yeah, research shows a majority of people who were told at some point that they are allergic actually are not. Dr. Frank McGeorge here with the reason so many of us are under this wrong impression.
Well, Kim and Devin, in fact, it is a wrong impression. Here's the thing. Penicillin and its derivatives are go-to treatments for lots of infections in childhood. So lots of kids are exposed to a penicillin when they're little. Here's one of the problems, though. Rashes are also super common in kids. And sometimes it might be from a reaction to the antibiotic, but sometimes the rash is actually from a virus that they happen to have while they're on the antibiotic. And when that happens, someone can get labeled penicillin allergic when they're not really.
About 10% of the general population has a listed penicillin allergy in their electronic medical record. But what we know from our guidelines and our allergy literature is that greater than 90 to 95% of these patients that have a listed allergy, when they come in for evaluation, we find that they can actually tolerate penicillin.
Dr. Ruchi Shah with Cleveland Clinic says often a person is told in childhood that they're allergic to penicillin and is never evaluated again, even in their adult years. She also notes that when children are sick, their threshold for developing reactions like a rash or swelling can be lowered, and that can make it hard to know if it was the antibiotic that caused the reaction, the individual just being sick, or a combination of the two. So, why is it so important to get retested?
Penicillin is probably one of the most common antibiotics that's used, and it's first-line treatment for a lot of different types of infections. And so when that allergy is listed, it really does restrict what antibiotics can be given to patients in a lot of different scenarios. For example, if you have strep throat or you have an ear infection.
Now, another really interesting example of a viral infection interacting with a penicillin actually happens when someone with a sore throat that's really from mononucleosis gets amoxicillin. I've seen lots of patients develop a very widespread rash when that happens, but that is not an allergy. So here's the thing. If we hear that you're allergic to penicillin, we have to use alternative antibiotics, and they may not be the best choice.
Sure. So I'm wondering, is it possible for someone to outgrow a penicillin allergy?
Same way we seem to grow into and out of other allergies, right?
Interesting point. And yes, actually, it is possible to outgrow it, even if a child has a true allergic sensitivity to a penicillin. Over time, like at 5 years or a decade, a person can become less sensitive, even people that had serious reactions. So it is often worth getting tested again as an adult if your allergy was only when you were a child.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You interested in being Speaker of the House?
I hear it's up for grabs.
The job is still open. Yeah.